as important as what I'm going to do.
Do it! Make your dreams come true!
And these human
Just
worms
do it!
on its carcass. My whole life is just cold, bitter
While you're
hatred.
gonna wake up and work
And
hard
I
at
always
it! Nothing
want
is impossible!
Violently. This is the time of vengeance. And no
Anyone else
life is
can
worth
win,
saving.
and you're not gonna stop there! No! What are you waiting for?
Brave as many as I
Do it!
It's time
Just
for me to kill.
do it!
And it's
Yes, you
time
can!
for me to die.
Just do it!
My genocide crusade begins here.
So before we get into the review proper, I thought I'd show you the settings that I'm running this at. That's partially due to the game itself needing a pretty high-end rig and being slightly unoptimized. So this is what I had to set it at to run it well and to be able to record at the same time. That's partially again because of the game and also because my computer is a fucking toaster, as you can see from the specs there. So make of that what you will. Your mileage will vary.
This is more than a killing spree. It's a mission.
Now, Hatred's a game that's been at the center of controversy ever since its initial trailer debut. There was a lot of speculation about what the game was going to be like, and there was a lot of criticism leveled at the game, whether deservedly or undeservedly. We got opinion pieces talking about how the violence of this game was disturbing to certain people, and this was followed up by Epic Games saying they didn't want their logo associated with the trailer because of the content. Steam even went as far as pulling it from Greenlight for a while, and even more recently, Twitch went as far as to ban adults-only games, AO-rated games, which is pretty much just Hatred at this point, because it's one of the only games out there with an AO rating, especially on Steam. But controversy isn't what makes a game good. It's the merits of the game itself that determine that. And while the criticism and media hype and the PR around it might play a factor in you wanting to purchase it, it really won't determine whether or not you're actually going to find it an enjoyable experience. And so we're going to cut through all of that, and we're going to focus on the game itself, because that's what a review should be. Now, before we get to the heart of it, I want to show you just how much time I put into it and how far I've gotten. I'm about midway through the game as I stand right now. I put about 2.5 hours into it, and I'd say about a good half an hour to 45 minutes of that was replaying the first level because I had some issues with my capture. Now, if I had to guess, I'd say that the game length is going to be between 5 and 6 hours. Now, I plan on playing it further, but I want you to have an idea of just how far I made it into it, so you can make your own determination of whether or not I'm giving the game a fair shot. For all I know, the next level after the one that I just played could completely change how the game is. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the game.
Maggots. Dust to dust.
The story of Hatred is fairly straightforward. You are Edgy McEdgerson, out to destroy the world with the power of your angst, and dressed in your most emo of outfits. In fact, you could imagine the protagonist wielding a katana as he goes out into the world from his mother's basement. Now, the bottom portion of the screen contains your arsenal. These are the weapons of death you will be wielding against the unsuspecting masses. They consist of 3 different weapons. Now, you can swap them out as you murder more people. If you run out of ammo, if you find a different weapon that you like better. This is all a part of the streamlined HUD, which basically takes up a very small portion of the bottom quarter of the screen. You have your 3 weapon types, you have your grenade types to the right of that. At the very, very bottom, you have a life bar, and into the bottom left-hand corner, you have your map. And that is it. Everything else that's on screen is the carnage you let loose upon the world. Now, the game takes place in levels, and each of these levels is a self-contained area in and of itself, with a main objective and different side quests. Now, these side quests can vary, and you might be wondering, what exactly are they? What's the point of the side quests? I just want to go rampage through the world. I want to kill every single thing that gets in my fucking way, because that is how emo I am. But these side quests do serve as a main feature throughout the game. In fact, they play a critical role in your ability to progress. And whether that's blowing up a gas station or derailing a train, or walking into a supermarket and slaughtering every single motherfucker you see, it has a purpose. I mean, let's say, hypothetically, you're gleefully chasing somebody out of a house, when all of a sudden a fucking squad car hits you out of nowhere. Well, you're fucked. Now, if you hadn't completed any side quests, you're going right back to the beginning of the level. But every single side quest you complete gives you a respawn. It's what allows you to continue on with your carnage and not lose progress in the game. That is why it is important to do the side quests. They serve a purpose. It's not just filler for no reason. Now, what if you find yourself in a situation where you can't actually complete a side quest, you're getting shot at by the police, or you're running extremely low on health? Well, there are no health pickups in the game, and your health doesn't regenerate over time either. In fact, there's only one way to get health back, and that's by killing people. And not killing them from a distance, I mean executing them up front. The second you realize people are not people in this game, people are health packs, you are going to be doing much better than you would have before. And that is what you have to think of them as. You need to execute every single motherfucker you see to get your health back up to 100%.
The next station is near a nuclear power plant. That gives me an idea.
So outside of the core mechanics, is Hatred an enjoyable experience? Is it a good game? What are the positives and negatives about it? Well, it is definitely dark. And by dark, I don't mean the mood, I mean the actual lighting. It is hard to see shit in this game. You'll be needing to tweak the gamma to really be able to kind of see around the levels, especially the first one and the sewer section right after it. I found myself bumping into things on occasion, getting hung up on items that were hard to discern in the background. And that problem of running into things also applies to the vehicle sections of the game. Now, if Hatred were your driving instructor, you better get used to walking, because it is hard to fucking drive in this game. Now, maybe that's because I am a drunken fool, but I found difficulty with it. The shooting, on the other hand, is pretty solid. It's pretty straightforward. There aren't a lot of issues with it, as long as you're using a keyboard and mouse. I tried using a 360 controller, and it just didn't have the kind of precision that I wanted with the shooting segment, especially if you want to use the zoom-in feature. It kind of gimps it a little bit, and doesn't really give you the same level of control that you would obviously get with a keyboard and mouse. Now, one of the interesting things that happened when I was doing this review was I had to re-record the footage. So that meant that I had to play the first couple of levels 2 to 3 times each. Now, the first time that I had gone through, it felt a little bit hollow, I'll be honest with you. It felt like some mindless shooting. There didn't feel like there was a lot of depth to the game. It wasn't really what I was hoping for. Not that I was hoping for much, but it wasn't as enjoyable as I was hoping for. It felt almost a little too easy, I guess. But once you get the mechanics down and you start to really understand how to play the game, and you're running around blowing shit up, and the destruction in the environments, the physics are really cool in this game. They look good when an explosion happens. Things started to change. And I really noticed too that the difficulty ramps up as you go along. While those first couple of levels you're just dealing with assholes with pistols and shotguns, as you go on you start dealing with SWAT teams and soldiers, and it definitely gets much more difficult. Again, that goes back to the side quests. You want those respawns. If you are shit at video games like I am, you're going to want those respawns because you're going to come up against some heavy firepower. So with all that said, is it worth buying? Is it worth putting $20 down? Now, I had somebody send me a copy of this. I didn't pay for it myself. Their caveat to sending me the copy was do a review on it, which I'm doing right now. But if I weren't in that situation, if I had to choose to pay $20 to play this game, would I do it? And the answer would be no. But that's because I'm a cheap bastard. I always wait for something to go on sale. Now, if Hatred had come out at $10 or $15, I'd be okay with putting that money down. But at $20, 5 to 6 hours seems a little bit short. A little bit short for what it's asking. Is it a good game? It's an okay game. Hatred is the kind of game where it has a lot of potential. Now, maybe that potential is realized later on, and I haven't come across it yet. But from what I see, this is the sort of game that if they were to do a sequel on and fine-tune it a little bit more, get the performance issues dealt with, get the darkness and the gamma levels dealt with, work on some of the collisions in the environment, some of the driving mechanics, it could be a really, really solid series. But right now, it's a little bit iffy. It's a game that I would say rent, but obviously it's on the PC, so you can't really go out and rent it. As for you, should you buy this? If you have the $20, should you get it? Well, I'm not your fucking mother. I'm not going to tell you what to spend your money on. You know enough about your own tastes and interests to know if this is the kind of game that you would like. Everything I've shown you in this game, everything I've told you about this game, is based on my own experience. I don't know if you have the same interests or the same likings that I do, but it is a solid game at its core. It has interesting mechanics, but it does have failings here and there. If you think 5 to 6 hours is okay, if you like this kind of genre, if you like the kind of action and violence that it has, by all means spend the money. If you think that there are issues with it, if you think that it's just not worth the money, then don't spend it. In the end, it's okay.
Oh, don't!